Ahoy! One of the reasons why I accepted this job to be a host in the Zlín festival television was that I finally have an alibi to say ahoy. In Belgium, the country where I come from, only sailors and pirates say the words ahoy, and I was always very jealous. I always envied the Czech people that they could do it all the time, because I was never a sailor and never a pirate, although I wanted to be. So now I'm in a legal position to say ahoy everybody, thanks for watching Zlín Festival Television. We're pretty packed today with 5 excellent, exquisite, notorious jury members of several festival juries. Welcome to all of you. One of the reasons why I was in doubt to maybe not accept this job was because it will force me somehow to pronounce all these very exotic names that I'm not able to pronounce. So maybe the safest thing is that we just pass the microphone from one to another and that you all say your name and then in one sentence who you are, country that you come from, and what are you doing here?
Hello, ahoy. My name is O.Golubeva. I came from Ireland/Russia/Latvia, and I'm an animator and art director.
Super.
Hello, my name is S.Ahern, and I'm from the Dublin International Film Festival, and I'm also a screenwriter. So I'm here to be on the Zlín Dog jury.
Hello, ahoy. My name is R.Ulayan-Tuzcuoglu, and I'm coming from the neighboring country called the Slovak Republic, from its capital Bratislava, where I work for our own company as a producer, distribution manager, and for many, many years I also involved in the summer cinema screenings, which I love very much and I'm passionate about.
Ahoy, I'm X.Zhou. I'm a Canadian of Chinese origin. For the past 20 years, I've been involved in and dedicated to children's cinema around the world. Thank you.
Ahoy, merhaba. I'm Rowena. I live in Turkey, but I'm originally Filipino. I run the Universal Kids Film Festival in Istanbul, as well as the president of the Children's Film and Art Association, the producer of the Children's Festival.
I think it was needless to say, because everybody already understood that from every jury we invited the best looking jury member. And Rowena, since the microphone is with you, why don't we start with asking you some questions about your job as a jury member. You are a member of the ECFA jury. ECFA is the European Children's Film Association, an international network of children's film professionals. But in this festival, the ECFA jury will only watch documentaries.
Yes, that's.
And I know you as someone who has had a very serious education in cinema. Will it help you? Will that background help you somehow in the way you will watch the ECFA jury selection of documentaries? Tell us a little bit more about what's going on in your mind when you are going to judge these films.
Generally, when you are part of a jury, it's very important to know cinematic language, because you are watching a film. And as opposed to other forms of art, cinema has its own language. And if you have the basic knowledge of what cinematic art is all about, it's easier actually to put the criteria on how to judge the film.
With all the jury members, over the last couple of weeks we did an interview by email, and that's where I got some inspiration to ask you about specific things. Because, Rowena, one of your answers in our email interview was, when I asked you about Zlín, where you've been many times before, you described Zlín as an oasis in a huge desert. It sounds very flattering for the people of Zlín, I think, and for the whole festival, but can you explain a little bit more about it?
I think that is true, because, there are only few people who are trained in the children's, in making children's films. And when you go to the various film festivals, there are certain films that they would categorize as films for children, but actually, definitely they are not. But when we come to Zlín, you would really see an array of rich children's films. So it's like you have a desert out there. I mean, there's lack of film production for children. But when you come to Zlín, you would see all these things from different parts of the world. And that is why I said this is an oasis in a big desert.
Actually, what I thought, because I've seen you here many times, I thought what you really meant was an oasis of shops. Because
that's also another part of it. But you can see shops all over the world.
Every time we see you here, we see you going around with big shopping bags. So I wanted you to know. I wanted to know, over the years, what is the best gift for yourself or for your family that you bought in Zlín and brought home with you?
They are not mine. They are my kids, and the women who come with me as delegates. And as I told you, for me, for example, it's the films. And it's the art materials. But for my friends, it's the manufactura things, you know, like great skin products, like Dermacol or whatever.
Super.
So, I mean, and they give me feedback. Oh, you can buy original, you know, the products at this store, that store, all the store. So it's a...
Thank you for this spontaneous promotion of the Zlín manufactory. So we have a new sponsor for next year. Thank you.
You're welcome.
X.Zhou, let's just go around the circle. Welcome in Zlín as the pearl on the crown of the Zlín Festival, X.Zhou Zhuan, captain of industry. X.Zhou, you're in the international experts jury, you're a sales agent, you're somebody who has a long experience with with all types of children's cinema. And a couple of months ago, you've sent me an article to publish, and it was about the do's and don'ts for a children's filmmaker. And I looked it up, and I came across a list of interesting advices that you gave to people who want to make films for children. And I want to quote some of them and ask for some explanation from you, which might also give us a sort of insight in the way you'll be working as a jury member. One of the advices that you gave, one of the do's and don'ts, was seek fantasy and adventure. Can you tell us some more about that?
Before I answer a question, can I just say something about the people in Zlín? Even though I just arrived yesterday, but I've been to Czech Republic. This would be the third time. And my impression about Czech people is they have the body of Marilyn Monroe and they have the mind of Einstein.
Wow.
Talking about people who know how to flatter. So yes, a few months ago I wrote down some thoughts about children's cinema, because we have been distributing children's films around the world for a long time. And we worked also with Czech producers, Czech filmmakers. To seek fantasy adventure is in human nature, I think. The clips we saw this morning to discover and explore the world is what I think filmmakers want to achieve with the cinematic work. They want to present to the audience, kids and adults alike. You want to take them to another world. Either it's suffering, it's sadness, it's pure joy, it's a mix of everything, it's bittersweet. You want to take them to another world. As the chairman of the festival said this morning, very correctly, the movies we present to you in the next few days will show you the life and dreams of other people, other kids in other countries. When you grow up, go meet them. Life is about a rendezvous.
That was a very precise quote of the festival manager. Congratulations.
I know how to flatter.
There was one do and don't, more precisely a don't, that intrigued me a lot and that I discussed about with many people ever since. And it sounds a little bit provoking the way you wrote it, because you said, sorry, but keep your childhood story to yourself. I thought that was a very interesting line, and I think I agree with it, but I would love to hear a little bit more about this, this sentence.
I have screened quite a number of films made by filmmakers aged 30s and 40s. And very often, the subjects they like to talk about, or the children's movies they think they are making, is very much about their own childhood that took place quite a while ago, 20, 30 years ago. So my feeling is that what happened to you or to your childhood may not resonate with the caring of the kids today. I have a 14-year-old girl. Whenever I say, oh, you know, when I was young, she would definitely shut me up. It was, oh yeah, old generation. Stop that. So I think that's not really necessarily a good starting point. And North American filmmakers, for example, like to talk about, oh yeah, when we landed on the moon, yeah, in the 60s. When you talk to the kids who were born in the new century, maybe there are other ways to still talk about what you knew about, but also think what they might be interested and how to get their attention. If you lose them at first sight, they can't get into your story. That was my provocative way to make a point, yes.
Thank you for your nice provocation. My last question to X.Zhou is, you're known as a sales agent for having a catalog with the highest quality standards, and still your all-time favorite movie seems to be The Sound of Music. Can you explain where this strange love for The Sound of Music comes from?
I think my personal favorite may not necessarily explain how I pick up movies or how I present my movies. Sound of Music has a lot of fantasy, has also harsh reality, and also is very hopeful. That's what I like in the movie personally.
Okay, thank you. Luba or Lubitsa. You're a member of the jury for debut films, yeah. It means these are people that can still just entering the business. Besides being a jury member, you can also be a useful advisor to them. And when I asked you for advice that you would give to young filmmakers, you said never underestimate your future audience. Can you tell us some more about that?
Yeah, that was an answer connected to the directors who are just at the first step or at their beginnings in the business. And I just thought that it's very important to think about the story which is authentic, which could be understandable to others, especially maybe young audience. But our films should not be only for audience. I think they're films on the children's topics, or it's not only for children, and they're not family films. But still, I think this is a general advice which is not only for beginners, but for like people who would like to communicate their stories in all kinds of arts. They should try to be as authentic as possible and understandable, and find the form for the story which is appropriate. And for those who are debutants, maybe they could not be perfect. I don't expect we're gonna see like 10 super professional films, but they should be. I expect to have like free stories which are of filmmakers of open minds, which could maybe more brave than for those who are established. Could be more interesting and formally maybe more experimental in some ways.
Thank you. The next question that I wanted to ask you has nothing to do with film. Last night we found out, rumors said that you have a teenage career.
Last night.
in the most exotic sport that I've ever heard about, which is synchronized swimming.
It's as exotic as filmmaking, I think. They're very, like, both are very special.
I would like to ask you a little favor, since I see there's a little bit of people are tense on stage. Could you guide us all together to a short synchronized swimming routine that we can join you?
Yeah, we are missing a bit of water, but we may try. We may try. It's a women's sport, so it's a perfect place.
I think
you can join. You can join. We kind of
and we have the spaces
it's
here.
It's very demanding sport. It's very like exotic, demanding, weird enough as filmmaking, but very interesting. And I just loved it, and I felt a lot of passion for it.
I think the smiling was.
I think the first position, even little girls, children. Learn is to do the circle, or at least half circle, and put their legs together in the middle point. So let's do the hands like this. Okay. And then you start with like kicking the water on the.
Wasn't the smiling very important?
Smiling?
I thought it was all like.
Smile always, because you have to. That's very. That's got a reason. You have to breathe. That's the point. You've got your nose like this, and you have to breathe like, and open your mouth as much as possible. So you do like this, and then you're lying on the water, smiling.
Still smiling.
Special positions. Those are your legs, and now you stand up. You do like this with your legs, but you're like smiling, opposing your audience, and doing pose like.
And then synchronized.
Da, 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 da.
Cool. I think we deserve a round of applause.
Yeah. It's also a collective sport, which is also important, because filmmaking and film watching is a teamwork as well.
That's what we just experienced. It felt like a very collective experience. So thank you for that. Sarah, any secret sports career that we should know about?
Not quite as amazing as synchronized swimming.
Curling, perhaps?
Curling, no. Bouldering, and burlesque dancing, yeah.
Burlesque dancing?
Yes, yeah.
So you could have guided us through
No.
burlesque
I'm a beginner. Terrible, so this is much better. No, yeah. Maybe next month.
Okay, well, we've missed such a great chance to do a collective burlesque experience then. But you're a member of the Zlín Doc jury. For those who don't know, Zlín Doc, as far as I understood, is a competition for student films.
Yes.
So, being the devil's advocate, I could ask you, like, you're in a jury for films made by people who don't know how to make films. Please defend your case that I'm wrong.
Well, I think filmmaking is really about having a voice, and I think for students and for young people who are getting into filmmaking, it's really important to have that time before you're sort of thinking about budgets and how many locations you can shoot in, and just having the imagination to go and explore, you know, what your ideas are and what your particular voice is. Because I think as a programmer, people who work in festivals, you're watching a lot of films all the time, and you see the same stories appear all the time, but what you're looking for is the originality of the person's voice who's telling that story. So I think it's really important to, you know, have a category like this, which allows young people to have, I suppose, a bit of the spotlight shown on them, and allow them a space to have an audience and a feedback, because that's one of the scariest things as a filmmaker, is the first time you're in a cinema and you realize that there's people going to watch your work and you know, judge you for it. And it's really important part of the process to experience what that is like. So I'm really excited that I'm on the Zlín Dog jury. So I'm very grateful for the festival for bringing me here.
Do they ask for this jury people who are very empathetic or very harsh and very cruel? What's the tendency?
I don't know. I'd have to ask the festival team. I'm just very happy to be here. I program the Children's Strand in Dublin, so it's and we also run some young filmmakers workshops as well. So it's really nice to come here and see work from children around the world as well.
A lot of flattering was already done for the city of Zlín and its festival and its inhabitants. And what I remember from our earlier conversations is that you call yourself the ultimate film nerd, who is not able to have a conversation without mentioning film. So my challenge for you was you arrived yesterday in Zlín?
Yes.
Can you tell us like 30 seconds of your first impressions without mentioning films or referring to it?
Well, you will be very proud of me, Gert, because I managed to spend a whole car journey with one of the festival team without talking about a single film yesterday. We talked, my driver, Barton, and I...
You said the word film.
Oh, I can't say the word film. Okay. So we drove from the airport and we took the scenic route over the hills, and we talked about nature and travel. So that was like a lovely introduction to come to Zlín and see the sights along the way. And then I got here.
Sounds like a film location.
It does actually. Yeah, I should have had my camera with me. And then and then I got to the hotel. I met the lovely Anna, who's looking after us, and the rest of the jury members. I learned some Czech, which I'm not going to do on TV because my pronunciation is terrible. And we had a lovely welcome from the festival team. So yeah, are my 30 seconds up? Am I cut loose?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
With great success. Thank you. Olja, you're in the animation jury?
Yes.
You are an animator, whether you want it or not, because in the interview that we did before, you said, I'm making animation films, and what was it exactly that you said? I work in the animation industry, I'm making animation films, and still, when somebody else would do the animation for me, that would make me really happy.
That's right.
Which somehow suggests that you don't like to animate, and maybe somehow suggests that you're incredibly unhappy.
That's right. I do not like to animate because animation takes a lot of patience, and I don't have that patience. Animator is an indoor actor who has to get out all the emotions out there, but no one's gonna see it, only as a character on in a show or in a movie. So patience is one thing why I do not like to animate, because while I'm animating, I have so many ideas running in my head that I'd rather work on them. And I prefer to have a team as well, so you're not on your own. And if it's a team and you can talk to someone out there who are much more brilliant animator than I am, so it's collaboration, and again, you can come out with brilliant ideas. So probably answering your question, the patience would be a first why I do not like to animate. But when there is a miracle happens and I animate something, I like the feeling when you create something, when you literally breathe life into something lifeless in the beginning, and then it started to move, and you feel a little bit like, I just made this, and it's moving, and it has a mood, and it has my character maybe, and it's fantastic, but I prefer someone else to do it for me, still, yes.
But you're not as unhappy as I was afraid you were?
Oh no, I'm not unhappy. It's just that I think I can be, good at other positions, much better than, because I know so many great animators, absolutely fantastic, and they can do this job with a great joy. So I would rather give it to them.
But you had your film screened in Zlín last year.
Yes.
In the animation section?
In animation section, two my films been screened. One the year before and one last year, yes, which I animated. But the second one was animated with the team.
Yes. So that was your favorite?
Yes, that was, I prefer team.
We were very worried about you being happy. You told me one of the things that makes you happy is cherries. Anything you want to share with us about cherries?
Yes, basically where I live there is a beautiful cherry trees, and every time they bloom. Because I came from Latvia where it's cold during the winter, and I sometimes miss snow when I do not miss cold. But cherry trees are bloom, and the petals falling, and it's like a snow during the spring. And cherries itself are super delicious. Love them. Yeah, fantastic.
Thank you. Somebody has a question for one another? Are you? You should ask me a question.
I met you 22 or 23 years ago.
Yeah, that was.
And you were already in children's cinema at that time. And you are one of the guys who had been so loyal to the industry, I guess. Who has somehow deep commitment, because I still see you now. Whereas our other friends, like Ola Tedin, had been gone.
You want me to go back to this horrible memory of the first time meeting you?
Oh my gosh, no.
It was not about Rowena. It was getting stuck in a traffic jam together with Rowena. That was the horrible memory.
We were going to Boof, Malmo. But you know, Gert Hermans, I really admire you, because you had been in the industry for such a long time, and still you're going, and I see you really, I see your deep dedication to it. What's your secret? Because some people had gone.
First of all, thank you for the very flattering words, and now you forced me to make a big confession, actually, because I don't have a mission. If I would really provoke you, I would even say I don't care what children watch. And that's not true, of course, because I do care. But it's not this bigger mission about bringing good quality cinema to children that keeps me going. What keeps me going is the people that I meet and the people that I work together with, and the fact that I'm blessed to be working in such a nice industry where generally people are nice and kind to each other, and where you get invited to places like Zlín, where you're surrounded by, it's like a 7 days long warm hug from the industry, including Rowena. But I think it's not in the first place the mission, although it is very important, but it's in the first place the people that work here. But thank you for this nice moment. We have a special surprise to end our session. It's an experiment that we're going to try to do today for the first time. Rowena, you were not there, so you'll see what happens around you the moment it happens. There is a very ambitious idea that in this internet TV show we want to start a Zlín Film Festival Instant Poetry Internet Contest. So every day I'm going to ask my dear panel to help me come up with instant poetry in the form of a limerick. So this means I asked three of our panel members to come up with one sentence. They don't know from each other which sentence it will be. And I asked Olja to come up with an illustration. So we will now see where this instant poetry show will take us. I thought it needs a jingle, a special jingle to have this item in the show. Like, can we do like poetry, poetry, poetry? Yeah. Okay. Can we do that? Yeah. Poetry. Welcome to the Zlín Film Festival Instant Poetry Internet Contest. And the sentence that we had today to start our limerick was, where was it? An ambitious director from Zlín
who makes our lives fascinating.
Fascinating.
And then line 3, he gathered a crew and started anew.
That's the way he's not in Zlín and not in Wien.
I hope we have this on tape. I'm not sure if it will be the winner of our competition, but for sure it's a fantastic start. And we have somebody who was doing the live illustrating of our fantastic, ambitious director from Zlín. Can we show it, please?
We keep him in anonymity, I think.
I particularly like the moustache. I'm pretty impressed about the very Czech moustache. And with the fact that even Zlín is mentioned on his director's chair. So thank you so much for this wonderful moment of very moving and ambitious poetry. Thank you for being on the panel. It was a blessing for me that I could do the first edition of this very ambitious challenge with a bunch of people that were so nice and helpful and willing like as you were. I wish you all a lovely festival. Thanks for being here and enjoy the rest of the Zlín, of your days in Zlín. Thank you. And thank you for watching, and see you again on the Zlín internet television, hopefully one of these days. Bye. Ahoy. Thank you.